Hi, this is Marcel of Marcel on Tech, and today, as you can see, we are talking smartwatches, in particular from Huawei, and why you should definitely consider this to be your next smartwatch. Let's get into it. Okay, so if you've been following my channel for a while, you might know that I'm all over the smartwatch thing, and I've done some smartwatch reviews on the likes of the Apple Watch, on the Google Pixel 2 as well watch, which was actually a surprisingly good watch that I got used to over a period of time. Initially didn't really like it, but something that has drawn my attention is Huawei, who are absolutely killing it right now as well, by the way. Over the last 2023, if you may know, prior to that, 5 years ago, under the Trump administration, they actually got banned from using all American-based company software, so Google, etc., which was a big deal for them because that effectively meant they couldn't do business in the West. But they've found a way to get back in, still using a Google system, but one that's actually an open proprietary system. Don't ask me to get into the details, but more importantly, they are coming back into the West, and that is a good thing for us as a consumer. Why? Because I equate Huawei to the Chinese Apple. Basically, they do very high quality products at a somewhat premium price some of the time, but they also do budget and mid-range devices that are also really good quality, but also good value for money as well. And these watches, I've got two examples of the high end and of the budget range as well. So we're going to be talking today about the Huawei Fit watch here. This is the watch GT4, which is absolutely gorgeous. And then we're going to be talking about the Fit Watch 3 as well. Now, I actually have two of these, so I'm going to be running a competition with a giveaway, and this is where you can be a lucky winner. Okay, now more details about that at the end of the video, but don't forget to obviously like and subscribe. That's part of the rules of entering the competition, and I'll tell you the rest at the end of the video as well, okay? So the main differences between the Watch GT4, now the Watch GT4 comes in many variants, and they are gorgeous. If I'm honest, they are really, really nice. I've tested out the green version and the silver, a Circa version, which is really, really gorgeous watches, more weighty, more professional looking, very much the sort of stylized smartwatches, but at the same time with the same functionality. Now this watch, which is the GT4, is the 41mm version, which is much more, I would say, of a female's watch. Is obviously much more of a feminine design. It is a little bit unisex, to be honest, because it could work quite well on a man's wrist as well. But I would say this is more suited for a woman, and it is absolutely gorgeous. I have to say, as a design and as a piece of jewelry and technology, this is one of the best smartwatches, best looking smartwatches in the world at the moment, I would say. This is the silver and gold version, and there is also a gold version as well, which is absolutely stunning. Now, in terms of functionality, here's the best part. It's incredibly simple. Both of these devices, both the Watch Fit 3 and the GT4, are going to have the same software running on their systems. So that system on the chip is going to be a version of Android, but it's actually Huawei's own Harmony OS for the watch. Now that is a completely different system, and it also means that when you install it, you actually have to install the Huawei Health app onto your phone via a QR code from the watch, and then you get the specific APK for your device, whether that be Samsung, Apple, Xiaomi, whichever it is. You download the specific app, so you won't find the app in the Play Store. You download it from the QR code on the watch. Very simple to do. You set up an account and it's done. You never have to worry about that again, and it will sync and link with the watch incredibly quickly and easily. The syncing process is very easy. It's very quick, and it's very, very straightforward. And it's all stored in the cloud as well. So this was something I was quite interested by, in that if you transfer the watch, all your data goes across. If you get a new watch, you lose your old one and you buy another one, everything gets transferred across. So if you may see, I've actually got the gray soft version of the watch on my wrist right now. And I also have the plastic strapped version as well of the Watch Fit 3. But all my data from when I tested the GT Watch 4 3 months ago is still in my account from when I did it there as well. So everything is backed up in the cloud, and you'll get all that data transferred across even if you change the watch. So that is really, really integrated. Wouldn't necessarily be something you'd expect from a non-Apple or Google certified product, but that is the case here. So you're not losing anything if you change the watch. The software experience, as I say, on the watch itself is very, very similar to between each of the watches. So you'll be very familiar regardless of which one you go for, whether it is obviously the metal one or the GT4 or the Watch Fit 3, they're gonna be very, very similar. The differences that might exist are the sensors. So the more expensive premium versions have slightly better sensors and GPS systems on board than the Watch Fit 3. However, Huawei has some of the most reliable, I would say, sensors on board in relative to their value for money, because they have been doing it for so long that their technology is way ahead of most. Huawei have developed technology from GPS systems to tracking systems for the last 15 years. That was one of the reasons they got banned, to be honest. So if there's one thing they're good at, that is tracking systems for GPS and for heart rate monitoring and so on, which all of these watches do, including SpO2, including sleep tracking as well, which again, I've been comparing it to the Whoop band that I've been using for a while, and I find them very, very similar. The Whoop is a little bit more conservative. That's for another video. If you're interested in learning much more about the Whoop band, put a comment below. I find that the Whoop is a bit more conservative. The Huawei watches tend to be a little bit more generous with their heart rate monitoring, and their sleep configuration is just a little bit more, but it's off by about 10%, no more than that. So if you're an athlete, that's a big deal. If you're not an athlete and you just want to measure your sleep patterns, you want to measure your exercise, your running, you want to track your walks, this is going to be a great way to go. And depending on what kind of design you like, they're going to have you covered, because this is the more sporty Apple Watch looking device, which I think looks really, really good. I love this gold, this red accent on the functional bezel here, which does fully function as well in terms of changing settings and doing things to navigate around the watch. And it does look really, really good too, and more sporty. But the metal version, I think, is not only a piece of great technology, but it is also a very, very good looking piece of jewelry as well. So what are the limitations? The biggest limitation that I would say is that you cannot make payments with this watch. So the likes of Galaxy Watch, Apple Watch, you can make payments via the watch because of course they are associated and verified by Google. These are not. So in the West, you cannot associate or put your card details onto the watch in order to make NFC payments. Other than that, that's it. The only other mild caveat is responding to messages that you receive and see on the watch. So there are auto response messages that you can select and then send back, but there are limitations. You can do that on a text, but you can't do that in WhatsApp. You can answer the phone and speak to the phone via the watch, via Bluetooth. That is very good. That is really, really good. In fact, that was better than the last Samsung watch that I had. It was clearer and louder on all of the Huawei watches that I tested over the last Samsung Watch 6 that I'd used, which was good. This was better. And this is the cheap version of the Watch Fit 3. So if you are somebody who likes to talk to the watch in a bit of a Bond style, then this is going to work really, really well for you. The Huawei watches overall, the sound is great, and the mic pickup is also very, very good as well. So that's not been a problem in the slightest. The panels, particularly actually on the more modern ones, so the GT4 and this Watch Fit 3, they are very, very bright, really bright, surprisingly bright actually. I live in a very bright place in the sun, and when this needs to, this pushes it up to nearly 800 nits, which is really impressive for a smartwatch. And then to finish it all off, because it doesn't have all the smarts that some of the other smartwatches have, the battery life. The battery life is epic. This will last you 6 to 10 days, depending on usage. If you're tracking a lot of fitness activities, obviously that will eat through it quite quickly. But if you're not tracking any fitness stuff, you're just using it as a watch and or to get your notifications, this could last you up to 10 days on a single charge. There's a big difference between Samsung and Apple in that regard. They're still talking 1 day to a day and a half maximum, and they still haven't figured that stuff out. So massive competition in that regard, and these are brilliant. Now, there's a different GT4 watch. On the Watch Fit 3, we have a proprietary 2-pin charging port where it just gets magnetized and stuck onto the base of it. Again, the charging speeds are awesome. On the Watch Fit 3, I charged it up from 0 to 100% in about 45 minutes, 50 minutes. And on the GT4, I got about 30 minutes, I got 80%, and another 10 minutes, I got 100. So really quick, really fast. You could literally charge it up to full when you're in the shower, so you don't need to take it in. They are waterproof, so you can swim with them as well. So that's freaking awesome. But otherwise, you can absolutely charge them up whilst you're in the shower, and very, very clever. One thing that I would like to mention that is a really clever feature is that they've put the buttons on the corners of the screens. So on the edge of the bezel, instead of having them right on the side there, which is where you would normally have a rotating bezel, they've thought about the fact that your hand might push against it. Now, the only difference is that because this has flat edges, the Watch 3, it is a flat edge watch and therefore they can't put it any higher or lower. But on the GT4, they've separated the button and the spinning bezel, and it works really, really well. Not to mention that the spinning bezel does have an effect on some of the watch faces. And in terms of the watch faces, you've got plenty of choices. Not as many as Samsung because that's using Android Wear, and probably more than you do with Apple because Apple are quite curated and limited, but they've got really good ones. This is somewhere in the middle. You're never gonna have enough. There are paid ones, there are free ones. The store that's available that's built into the app for Huawei Health, you're gonna go nuts there and you're gonna have plenty of choices in terms of what you want it to look like, whether it matches the design of the watch or looks completely different and highly digital. The choice is yours. So these watches I would highly recommend for you to consider if you're looking for battery efficiency, really good sensors, great panels, and you don't care about making payments on it. If you want to be able to make a phone call, you absolutely can. Now, let's get back to the competition. You need to only like and subscribe, put a comment below on this video, and if you would like a better chance to enter, go to the Buy Me a Coffee link in the description where you can get 2 extra entries into the draw for the competition. So if you just do the first 2, which is like and subscribe and comment on the video, then you will get 1 entry for the competition. If you also join me as buymeacoffee.com/MarcelOnTech, then you will get an additional 2 entries into the draw to win 1 of these watches. Okay, so I'm very excited about being able to offer these now as competition winners. And they will be announced as soon as I get the numbers in, but it will be within the month of June this year. Okay, if you've got any more questions or if you'd like to know more about any one of these particular watches, let me know. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you very, very soon in my next one. Bye-bye for now.